Good afternoon, my dear students. Last class we have seen cell and its structure. So cell is the fundamental unit of life. So the organisms are divided into two that we already have seen in last class, like unicellular organism and multicellular organism. So in the case of unicellular organism, one cell is enough. It will carry out all the functions like excretion, digestion, all the functions it will be carried by one cell. Example in the case of amoeba. But in the multicellular organism, it needs different types of cells to perform different functions. So a group of cells which perform different function. So a group of cells which have same structure, same function, and it will perform a particular function. That is known as the tissue. So in this class, we will discuss about tissue, different type of tissue and what are its functions. So tissues are a group of cells which have same structure and it will perform a specific function. So suppose in our body there are different types of cells are there, like blood cell, nerve cell, muscle cell, etc. So muscle cell, if you take muscle cell, one muscle cell we cannot like this, we cannot contract our hands, we cannot do anything with one muscle cell. So together, group of cells together, we can perform a particular function. So that type of system is known as the tissues. So tissues, let's see tissues, the classification of tissues. Tissues are divided basically into plant tissues and animal tissues. In the case of plants, it is known as the plant tissue, and in the case of animal, it is known as the animal tissue. What the use of tissue in the plants? It will give mechanical support if plants have to stand straight, and for the storage of food, there are different types of functions are there for the plant tissue. And animal tissue we will see later. So again, plant tissues are divided into two, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. First, we will see the classification and we will discuss one by one. Okay. So plant tissues are divided into meristematic tissues and permanent tissue. And again, the permanent tissues will divide into simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. One by one, we will see what is the different types of plant tissues. A major difference between the plants and animals is that in the case of plants, the growth is limited to certain region. So, but in the case of animals, it is not at all restricted. Means the growth, it is in a regular pattern. One part will not grow too much or one part will not grow like that. We cannot see in the case of animals. But in the case of plants, the growth is limited. Okay, so plant tissues are divided into two, that is meristematic and permanent, depending upon the capacity to divide. So the cells which is able to divide is known as the meristematic tissues, and which stop the division. After dividing, after some time, it will stop its division. That is known as the permanent tissue. So let's see what is it. So depending upon the dividing capacity, the plant tissues are divided into two, meristematic and permanent. Meristematic means that tissues have the capacity to divide. It will divide. It will multiply. Okay. So it is basically divided into three. That is, first one is apical, intercalary and lateral. Three types of tissues we can see in a plant. Okay, depending upon its position, three types of tissues we can see. So first one is apical. Apical means what? Apex. Apex at the tip of the shoot or the tip of the roots, we can see this type of tissues. That is known as the apical tissues. Okay. So you can see, I have drawn a rough diagram. In that you can see apex. This type of tissue is known as the apical tissue. And next one is the intercalary. Intercalary means between. So between the nodes or below the leaf, you can see this type of meristem. It has the capacity to divide. So this all have the capacity to divide. This is known as the intercalary meristem. And next one is lateral meristem, that we can see down. Can you see? This is known as the intercalary meristem. The main function of this intercalary meristem is that it will increase the thickness of the plant. The girth of the plant means the thickness of the plant is increased by this lateral meristem. So the three types of meristem is that apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. I will show in one plant. So you can see one plant. So here in the apex of the shoot, this is the shoot part, apex of the shoot, we can see apical meristem. So if the plant has to increase its height, this should divide. Okay, so this here we can see apical meristem. Okay, so in between you can see in between the leaves here, down part of the leaf or in between one leaf to next leaf, that is known as the internode. Okay, from one leaf to next leaf, that is known as the internode, that place, and below the leaf, that another type of tissue is there, that is known as the intercalary meristem. Okay, so it will increase after 1 week. You can see little more increases there, that is because of the intercalary meristem. And below here you can see the thickness of the plant will increase, right? That will after 1 or 2 weeks, you can see little more thickness is there. In the other plants like mango tree and all that, it will be more big. So that type of meristem is known as the lateral meristem. So it will increase the thickness of the plant. So apical meristem, we can see another part of the plant, that is the root. In the root apex also we can see apical meristem. So once again I will tell the in a plant, three type of tissues are there. Depending upon the position, the three types of tissues are there. First one is which we can see in the apex, that is known as the apical meristem, and also we can see in the apex of the root. Okay, so that is known as the apical meristem, and in between below the leaves and also between one leaf to next leaf, that is known as the internode. There also we can see meristem, that is known as the intercalary meristem. Okay, then below this part, this is known as the lateral meristem. It will increase the thickness of the plant. So these are the different type of meristematic tissues that we can see in the case of plant. So meristematic tissues means the tissues have the capacity to divide. So what is the difference between meristematic tissue and permanent tissue? Meristematic tissues have the capacity to divide and it will increase the height of the plant, thickness of the plant. But in the case of permanent tissue, after few times of division and all, it will lose the capacity to divide and it will change into permanent. It have specific function that we will see in another class.